Hey, my name is Michelle Clark and I am here to talk to you all about liner. I know that as a makeup artist, I've been asked a million times how to create perfect winged eyeliner. And then another question I get all the time is, how do you do it if you have a hooded eye? And I wanted to create a video that would answer these questions. So as you can see, I have on purpose, two different eyeliner looks that I'm going to take you through. This side is more geared towards what to do if you have a hooded eyelid, and then this is for anybody else or anybody that wants a more dramatic feline flick. The first thing I'm going to share is how to map out creating a cat wing liner for a hooded eye. One of the most important things that you can do prior to creating your cat wing liner is to properly prep your eyelid. So I love to use 24-hour eye base because it will really cement anything that you put on top there, and this way you're not going to get any type of transfer on your lid. A lot of people that have a hooded eye or have a little bit more texture or skin here, or even a lid that disappears back into the crease, it's troubling because then all of a sudden the hard work that you put in to create that perfect liner gets all smudged and messed up here. So using 24-hour eye base ensures that everything's going to stay put, it's not going to move, and it's going to make a really smooth base for you to actually draw your liner on top of. So I'm just going to squeeze a small amount onto my fingertip. Honestly, this is enough for both of your eyelids. So I'm going to put that on, and then I'm just going to put it on with my fingertips and just gently smooth it across my lid. I'm even going to add a couple dots of it on the outer corner of my eye just to protect that area as well. So another trick that I like to use when creating a cat eye for a hooded eyelid is using the proportions of your face to help you cheat the shape. So if you tuck your hair behind your ear, you have your hair back, and you take a brush and you go from the outer corner of your eyelids, right where they meet, to the very tippity top of your ear. That's the direction that you want to go when you're creating your line, because a liner on a hooded eye is going to work much better, and it's not going to get lost in the skin if you go straight out. If you kick your liner up, that's where the trouble begins, and the shape can get a little bit fuzzy. It cannot look as precise, and also may not be as flattering on that eye shape. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to dip into your powder with your brush and just gently pick up a little bit of product. And it doesn't need to be super saturated because this is just going to create a small thin line of where you're actually going to put your liquid liner afterward. So using my ear as a guide, I'm going to go in and I'm going to take my brush with the longest point towards the two lids, and I'm going to stamp a line right there. Now that we have our mark there with our Studio Fix powder and we've made our place so we can follow it to figure out where to put our wing, I'm actually going to go in next with some eyeliner and fill in my top lash line, and then as soon as I get to the marked space where I've kind of mapped out my wing, I'm going to go over that with pencil and then fluff the rest away. So my next product is going to be Graph Black Pencil, which is a waterproof technical liner that I'm going to use on my top lid, and then I may even fill in a little bit on my waterline. But I love it because it doesn't transfer, it doesn't move, and it's super easy to draw a clean line with. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of that pencil on the back of my hand and the same 263 brush, and I'm going to go into that product back and forth and coat my brush so that I then can just smooth out the liner. This is super helpful if you have an unsteady hand or if you're new to doing eyeliner in general. A brush like the 263 makes it so much easier. And as you can see, I have a straight wing straight out from the corner of my eye, and that powder that we put down to map it out is completely covered with liner now. It's disappeared. There's not a whole lot to clean up, but in the case of making a mistake or having a smudge or just wanting to sharpen the edge of your liner, I love to use Fix Plus and a cotton bud if you have it handy. These are smaller, these make it a little bit easier to make a precise mark. If you have a larger cotton bud on you, what you can do is just spray it down with the Fix Plus and then pinch it with your fingertips to make it even smaller in size. And then you can just go right in and clean up that edge. And it'll sharpen what you put down. And what's so great about using Fix Plus versus using a makeup remover is that there's no oily residue and there's no product that's going to continue to break down the liner that you just did. So it's going to be super clean, it's going to be really easy, and it's not going to mess up any of the hard work. One other tip I wanted to mention is that if you do have a hooded eye, it's important that you keep your wing, which is why I went straight out here from the corner of the two lids, below the fold of your eye. If you go into where your skin comes down, it's actually going to misshape the liner and it's going to make it a lot harder to see. So make sure you go below that. You can even put a dot of where that space would be before you actually create your wing, so that you have extra insurance that you're putting it in the right place. Another tip that I think is really important to mention if you have a hooded eye is that after you've done your liner and you've created a shape that's more elongated, which is the illusion of a longer eye, it's important that you apply most of your mascara in the center of your lashes on the top. Or if you're putting on a false lash, that you make sure that you don't use one that's too heavy on the outer corner, because that's going to drag your eye downward. And we want to keep the eye balanced, and by keeping the center lifted, it balances out the elongated piece from the liner with the lifted piece from the top lashes. So for this one, I'm going to do a similar process, and I'm going to go back in with that Studio Fix powder, and I'm going to map out my higher and more feline flicked wing. Now, the proportions on your face that you can use on this side to create something more lifted is heading your wing towards the point of your eyebrow. So this point of reference is going to give you a lifted effect, where our other eye, it's going out straight towards the top of the ear, which is giving us an elongated effect. So both are super helpful, and it also, there's a couple of things at play here. It matters what your style of makeup is, it matters what proportion eyes you have and what shape eyes you have, and then also just the attitude of the makeup. Now that I have my shape mapped out, I'm going to go in with that same graph black pencil, and I'm going to create my overall shape on my top lid. And then we're going to go in with a little bit of liquid liner to deepen things up and make it a bit more dramatic on both eyes. So now you can see on this side that this one is going up towards the edge of my brow. And this is just how it looks with only pencil. So I've mapped out my shape, I've done the top liner with it, and now I'm ready to go in with some liner on the bottom of my eye, and then we're gonna go over it with liquid liner. Okay, so now that I've done the same thing on this eye, but with a different style liner, and the liner actually going a little further out, slightly thicker and more towards my brow, you can see the difference between the two sides. So one is a little smaller, it's also straighter, and then this one is a little bit more flicked up. There are so many different ways to wear eyeliner, so I think that I can make a million more videos about styles of eyeliner and how thick, how many different products you can add, but for now I wanted to show you how to add one more product on top to ensure that this stays on forever. It's bulletproof, sweatproof, all of that, and that's by adding brush stroke liner in brush black. I'm also right-handed, so for me, when I'm doing my left eye, it's a bit more difficult. And one of the things that's helped me in giving myself the ability to create a more symmetrical, smoother liner is making sure that I'm taking this hand, my right hand, and moving it all the way across my body so that I'm getting the same kind of placement with my hand and my wrist as I do on my easier side. So it makes it easier for you to create the same thing. The other suggestion I have is doing your harder side first. So if you do the side that isn't as easy for you, it's going to be much easier for you to create the harder side on your easy side. No, wait, that makes no sense. So if you do the hard side first, when it's easy on this side, it's gonna be so much easier for you to replicate what you did over there. Okay, that made sense. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. I hope that you found this really helpful. I hope there were maybe some suggestions for products or tips and tricks that you can actually implement so that you can help yourself to create the most perfect